step. We're gradually moving. Hello, good morning, everybody. Good Saturday morning to everybody. How has our week been? As usual, mine has been somewhat stressful, but we thank God we are holding up and we're taking all, baby step after baby step. We're gradually moving forward. You are welcome to Relationship Talk with Niken. Here we talk about, real issues and we offer real solutions. If you are interested in, having a healthy relationship, not just a working relationship, then you are in the right place because here we get to, school ourselves on how to build healthy relationships. Not every relationship that is presently working is healthy. And so, if you're interested in building a healthy relationship, if you are interested in not just, the ephemeral, not just the plastic relationship, not just the relationship for the grams, but you are interested in actually making your relationship work, then you are in the right place. You're welcome. And today, as usual, we are trying to further our conversation on the issue of abuse. We are trying to further our conversation on the issue of abuse. And today, I want us to talk about understanding the mind of an abuser. Understanding the mind of an abuser. What goes on in the mind of an abuser? What goes on in there? How do they think? How do they process things? And because sometimes we just get to demonize people without necessarily understanding what they are thinking and the process that is happening in their own heads. So today, I want us to just talk about this. And the first thing that I want us to realize is that when it comes to the mind of an abuser, people that abuse people in their relationships, what usually would happen is that they don't see relationships like healthy people do. Sincerely, they see relationships slightly differently. So many people want to go into relationship because they care about the other person, because they want the other person to care about them, because they want to be loved and because they want to love. But for an abuser, yes, they may want to experience love, but they want to experience love in a slightly different way. They want to experience love on their own terms. And what that means is that I want to get you to love me the way I dictate, and I want to love you the way I am dictating it, which makes it slightly different from a healthy perspective. Because at the end of the day, this tends to lead to subjugating power. They want you to be subjugated to their power and to their control without necessarily telling themselves that this is what they are going to do, but that is what they end up doing. So when it comes to relationship, they think slightly differently. They want a predictable relationship, and what that means is that they take control of the relationship, and it is about power. It's about control. How do I get to tell you what to do and you do it exactly the way I want you to do? So that is one of, what happens in the mind of an abuser. And sometimes, if we just don't want to demonize these people, sometimes it is also about, it is motivated by love. Sometimes they love you too much that they don't want you to go out of their grip. And sometimes it is motivated by protection. They just want to protect you. How do I get to protect this my beautiful maybe girlfriend or wife from other people's invasion? And they become, they start by protecting and eventually it becomes abusive. So sometimes it is not about just what they do wrong alone. Sometimes it starts from a good place but fast degenerates into a very unhealthy relationship. So what are the belief systems that guide them? They believe that their spouses or their partners are an extension of them. Sometimes for people that have healthy relationship, it is difficult for you to understand these things, but they see you as we are one and you are just an extension of me. And somehow to be able to get you to be an extension of themselves, a lot of manipulation begins to play out. They begin to, as a result of them wanting you to be an extension of them, they begin to isolate you, and they prevent you from living by threatening you. And it is just about you don't know that we have become one now, and this is what I want you to do is what you will do. So you become just an extension, like a property, like and something that they have acquired. And so they hold their grip tight on you to prevent you from leaving. So whatever it takes, if it takes them to isolate you from everybody so that they can get you to do and act the way they want you to act, they would isolate you. If it means to threaten you, they will threaten you. If it means to beat you to submission, they will beat you. But the goal is that you do as I say, and I want you within my space so that like I said, it's about power and it's about control. The second thing that we need to know is that abusers tend to disempower their victims a lot. They tend to disempower their victims. What usually happens is that they cut them off from anything that empowers them, like relationships. They cut them off from every other person so that they are isolated to themselves, so that they can have complete control of them. And maybe they disempower you from having money, so that you can be completely dependent. The goal is that you can't do without me. And so these are some of the things that go on in the mind of an abuser. It is about disempowering their victims so that you can become completely dependent on them. And as I'm speaking, continue to just introspect and look into your own relationship. What are the dynamics that we have playing out there? Does this my partner want? Is he trying to isolate me? Or is he or she trying to isolate me? Is he or she trying to make me completely dependent on them? Then the third thing that I want us to also consider is that if you threaten to leave, or you are trying to leave an abuser, to them it looks like you are undermining their powers. It looks like you are undermining their powers. It feels like so I no longer have a grip on you. And for them, it can introduce them to becoming violent, and it can also mean that they apply desperate measures to ensure that you stay. So when you are trying to leave, it is like you are trying to tell them that you no longer have a hold on me. And don't forget that one very important thing to an abuser is that they have control of you. They determine when you laugh, they determine when you cry, they determine how you feel. They just want you to be completely dependent on them. And so that is the goal. So the moment you begin to gain freedom, it feels like I'm losing a hold. And it is like someone that, if you have a slave and the slave is trying to run away from you, usually what will happen is that you do whatever it takes to ensure that my slave stays in check. And so they check you however way they have to check you. So, and one thing that we also need to realize is that in checking you, it is not always about, hello, Henry Spice, I can see you. Thank you for joining. Thank you, Nii Dumade, for joining. I appreciate you this morning. I see you. Good morning. So, like I said, it is whatever it takes for you not to leave. So it's not, because a lot of people think that abusers are just people that beat their spouses or their partners to submission. Sometimes, if it takes buying you a gift, they buy you a gift. If it takes whatever it takes to disempower you is what they will do. So it is not necessarily about, beating you. Although eventually, no, it eventually becomes physical. They will have to let you know that I am the master here. And so there is not, gradually, it degenerates to physical beatings and all of that. So, but usually the idea is that don't undermine my powers. Don't undermine my powers. The powers that I have over you, you cannot easily break it. You cannot just break away from it. And so usually that is what is that is the script. That is the programming that with which they are, with which they are running the program. So whatever it takes to make you stay, if it means giving you gifts, if it means beating you to submission, if it means humiliating you, so they humiliate you. And the idea behind that as well is for you to lose confidence in yourself, feel worthless all by yourself, and you believe that until they are in your life, you are not complete. And so you would be dependent. The idea is to get you dependent. So if it takes them to take care of you, they take care of you. If it takes them to beat you, if it takes them to humiliate you, whatever it takes, but they convince themselves that they are motivated by love and they want to protect you, and that is why they are doing what they are doing. So if you are in a relationship, you need to assess, no matter what somebody says. I think love is not just about the saying, what people say to you. It's also about the doing. What they are saying and what they are doing, does it correlate? So somebody might say, I love you, I want to do anything for you, and at the end of the day they continue doing something that violates the things that they are saying, that is opposite from the things that they are saying. You need to be aware, you need to be conscious. People should stop going into relationships with their hearts alone. You should go with your heart and your head, so that you are thinking and processing things as they are unfolding before you. So it is not just about what they say alone. You should also put into consideration how they act towards you. So that is another thing that I think. So whatever it is for you to stay in that relationship, they do it. So by way of reminder, I said that the abusers don't think the way all of us think. They don't think like healthy people. They think slightly differently, and the idea is for them to get you to submit to their power and to their control. And usually, sometimes they convince themselves that they are being motivated by love for you, and they want to protect you. They want to protect you from from other men, and they can't admit to jealousy, but they want to protect you from being wayward, from whatever idea they put out there. But the idea, they convince themselves that they are being motivated by love and protection for you. They believe that you are an extension of them. You are not an individual by yourself. You are just an extension of them, and so whatever it takes to isolate you, they do it so that they isolate you from other people. They disempower you. They disempower their victims. Abusers always disempower their victims. They cut them off from meaningful relationship or anything that can make them powerful. So if you have powerful people around you, they make sure that they create problems with your loved ones, so that they are far away from you and they isolate you. The game an abuser always plays is to isolate you so that they can deal with you. And the idea, one of the reasons for that is that they can get you completely dependent on them. And also, if you are trying to leave them, it means that you are undermining their power, and it can attract desperate measures. They would do whatever it takes to keep you in that place, so that you continue to do their biddings. You continue to do their biddings. And lastly, they ensure that they continue to pull down your esteem, your confidence, and until you begin to see yourself through their eyes, they won't stop. And so when anybody claims that they love you, and what they do is they consistently put you down, they consistently tell you how you are not good enough, all of those is targeted at weakening your defense and your confidence. And so at that point, they get to control you. Like I said, the end result is for them to be able to control you. It's a game of power and it's a game of control. But one thing that we don't realize about an abuser is that an abuser is also afraid. The truth is they are afraid of losing you. The moment they got attracted to you, they got attracted to something beautiful about you. They got attracted to a strength that you had and still have. And for them, they look at that thing that you have as something that projects you to the world, endears you to the world, and they feel like if they give you the freedom to mix with other people, if they give you the freedom to continue to communicate with other people, you may see them as not good enough, and you may want to leave them. So the truth is that an abuser usually is afraid. They are afraid of losing you. And instead of them to be vulnerable with you, they don't know how to be vulnerable. And instead, they try to exert their powers on you so that you feel useless and you continue to stay with them. But the truth of the matter is that you are very valuable. They know that you have value. They know that you have something that endears you to them and to the world. And they don't want other people to see this thing. They don't want you to, when you continue to mix with other people, they are threatened that you may feel like they are not good enough and you may want to leave them. And so they begin to play this game so that you continue to stay with them. So at the end of the day, if we are going to be sympathetic to their plight, I think that we need to see them for who they truly are. They are people that are afraid. They are afraid to death of losing you. And they don't know how to do that in a healthy way. They are afraid to be vulnerable with anybody. Instead of them to be truthful about how they feel, that I feel helpless and I feel like you will leave me soon, and I feel like you are a very valuable person, and when you leave I'll be empty, or you may discover something about me that makes you feel like I'm not good enough, and that is one of the reasons why I want you to stay with me. Would you be willing to stay with me even if I'm not strong enough, even if I'm not, as charming and as, will I continue to enchant you? So those are the fears at the bottom of how they act. And instead of them to own up to the fears that they have, instead of them to own up, be vulnerable, they exert power instead. So if you are being abused, truth is there's something very beautiful about you that your spouse is afraid to share with the world, and that should console you. But by all means, you should talk about it. You should break free from an abusive relationship. It is nothing to submit to. So if you look at all the abuses and abusers and their victim, usually the abuser feels small in the presence of the abused and in the presence of their victim. And what they do is they try to make sure that they make you feel little until you believe in them and until you embrace them wholly and believe that without them you can do nothing. So there are people that suffer from low self-esteem, people that are afraid to be vulnerable, and because of all these things, they pretend and mask it by pretending that they are people of strength and people of power, and they make you believe that they are perfect. One thing that all abusers do is that they pretend that they are perfect. They are afraid to be vulnerable. And so if you notice this trend in your own relationship, you may need to seek help. You may need to find out, how do I break free from this toxic relationship? Like I said, there is a relationship between the abused and the abuser, but what goes on in the head of the abuser is what we are looking at today. And if this has helped in any way, would you please want to share? Thank you. Auntie Jumoke Peter, she's here. Thank you for joining us. I see Muli Sheung, thank you for joining. Thanks everyone. Henry Spice, thanks for all the comments. Femi Adekunle, my ride or die, is here with me. Thank you very much for all the comments that we have dropped this morning. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Like I said, our videos will not be too long so that we'll be able to ingest them properly and be able to do something meaningful with it. Maybe next time we'll look at what goes on in the head and in the mind of an abused person. But definitely the purpose of all what the rounding off for today, the purpose of what an abuser does is they want to rob you of confidence, they want to shatter your self-esteem, and once they do that, you think that without them in your life you can do nothing. So until I come your way next time, thanks for joining today. Help share the video, help like, comment, and just share. Thanks so much, and until I come your way again,